Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to the Snow Church for Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. I'm your host, Rev Snowflake, and let's take a look at the snowfall outlay over the last 24 hours, and then we'll get into the forecast. We did see the storm break out across areas of Nebraska and South Dakota in the last 24 hours, even spreading some snows into far southwest Minnesota, far northwest Iowa. Obviously, heaviest snows in central Nebraska here, and even a little bit of light snow snuck into portions of northern Wisconsin. We didn't have any snow that accumulated anyway up here in the Keweenaw. I did see a few flakes falling. Oh, I guess it was yesterday afternoon. I was out and about and saw a few flakes, but nothing that accumulated or amounted to anything. So let's go to the radar. Radar. What's going on here? Radar. It's not liking my finger, maybe. There we go. I went to the different version of the radar that has the precipitation type algorithm built into it so that we can see what's going on and have the heaviest snows back here across South Dakota and Minnesota. And that's kind of where they're going to occur today. Have the heaviest snows in the next 24 hours to go about something like that right in there. And anywhere within that range, 8 to 12 inches of snow for you wonderful folks. That should be making you happy. The sad news is, as the storm works east, it's still going to be, I guess best way to put it is maturing and just sort of falling apart. The storm, as far as an organizational sense goes, is probably at its peak right now, and will be kind of falling apart. The different elements of it, a moisture inflow, any kind of cold air coming down, upper air energy concentration, all of that stuff is going to be breaking down as we go through the next couple of days. So as a result, even though the low is going to move very slowly across the upper Midwest, the snowfall totals for these areas right about in here, for tomorrow, maybe even as early as late tonight, but more specifically tomorrow and into Thursday, we're looking at probably 1 to 4 in most cases. Models do indicate a blob of some heavier snow here and also right about here. Those places could see 4, 5, maybe 6 inches of snow occur on Wednesday and Thursday. But otherwise, about 1 to 3 inches in those areas. And let's just jump to the models then, shall we? Okay. This is the GFS. This board is kind of crazy how it likes to do its own thing. All right, this is the European model. And here we go right on out. And look at how that just falls apart. And I've gone way deep. No, I haven't. This is only the wee morning hours of about midnight. Well, 1 a.m. Thursday morning, basically. So here's where we have the heaviest of snows to occur. And then you can see some of the lighter amounts that occur up across the UP, northern Wisconsin. This might be a little tiny bit overdone in the UP. But at any rate, you're not looking at any kind of big totals anywhere. I guess the far western UP and maybe the highland, the high country between Marquette and Lauson-Baraga could see more than 4 inches of snow. And then as we take it out through the rest of the forecast period, 10-day period, you can see that not a whole lot happens. And that's indicated on my 5 to 8 day map on the website. So be sure to check that out on the website. Still just not a very exciting forecast going forward, and I'm already catching what this bugger's done. So we're gonna switch to this and we'll run it right out. And again, I don't know. We'll back it out there. That's Thursday morning, early Thursday morning. And again, we're basically still in the blues across most of the UP, and that would be for maybe 5 inches of snow. So right now I'm saying 1 to 3, just because I think that it's going to come down in waves, not just one solid voomp where you get it and then you can easily measure it. And I think in between there might be a little bit of settling and everything. So by the time all is said and done, you know, maybe 1 to 4, closer to the 3 to 4 range than the 1 for most areas in the UP. And again, the 2 spots that might see a little bit more around Escanaba towards Iron Mountain, and then over there in northwest Wisconsin, areas around Bayfield and the tree cities, you know, like Poplar and Maple, and I forget what else is over there. As you cut across on Highway 2 on your way to Duluth. So let's just run this out also. And we can see we just don't have much in the way of fresh snow. I mean, going all the way out, here comes something. But that's like day 17, 18. We're talking about like January, well, 17th or 18th. It happening. And like I mentioned yesterday, I do think that if we're gonna be in that 30 day cycle, to expect things to get a little bit more rambunctious in the weather across the central United States as we get into the second half of this month. But why are we so quiet right now? I mean, yeah, there's a good storm going on, South Dakota and Minnesota, but I mean, why does that one fall apart in an area of the country where they usually intensify? Because we usually are able to bring the cold air down. Oh, freaking that map out. This map's not going to be easy to see, but at any rate, you know, the lows as they cross through the central United States usually strengthen rather than weaken, because you've got Gulf moisture coming up out ahead of the system, bringing all that warmth and moisture, and that's energy. And then you have the cold coming down, which only sort of enhances the temperature difference and enhances the amount of energy there is. And, you know, everything just comes together to produce these whopper storms. And the same thing can happen on the East Coast too, because they've got the warmer waters of the Atlantic, the Gulf Stream there to provide the warmth and moisture. But why? Why are these things not amplifying as they're in the central Midwest? What's going on? Well, it's our nemesis, the Aleutian Low. Let's see if I can kind of draw. Even I'm having a hard time because there's some glare off the windows. My apologies. But I'm going to pick a different color. I'm going to pick just white. And so Florida, Texas, and then California goes up like that, and then you get up here towards Alaska, like that. Alaska's up there like that. U.S.-Canadian border is right about here. And Maine goes up to about there, the East Coast like that. All right, that's a rough representation of what we're looking at. Obviously, the Midwest, Chicago would be right there. So, this is all the Pacific Ocean, and this low is sitting right over the Aleutian Islands, and that's what we call an Aleutian low. That's what makes the content for Deadliest Catch, is when they have an Aleutian low there, and they have the big waves and the stormy seas and all that kind of fun stuff. But gotta get out of that. But watch this low, watch this moisture here. Just sits there. Here comes another big storm for California. This would be later tomorrow into Thursday. And yet another one, not quite as big, a little further north, but still, and this is by the weekend. But look, this low really doesn't get itself dissipate or anything. It just hangs on there. Here we are all the way into the beginning of next week, still sitting there. So Northern California, Oregon, Washington, they're all just going to be getting pummeled by wave after wave after wave of storms. In fact, that will probably be the big media buzz, is all the inclement weather and heavy snows, heavy rains, and all the problems that they're having out west due to this kind of weather. Unfortunately, it's not so much the weather's fault as much as it is humans building where they shouldn't be building. But at any rate, I digress. Still, that low, look, it just keeps going. Keeps going. I mean, here we are about 10 days out in the forecast, and it's still basically there. But then you can kind of see it trying to weaken and lift off. We start to see a little bit of a high pressure now build in east of the Hawaiian Islands, kind of start to dislodge this low by the time we get to the end of the period. And that's where our weather might start to change. So thought I'd point out to you what is to blame for our sort of lackluster winter. Not so much to date, but what we're going to be going through for the next at least week to 10 days, maybe even 2 weeks. It's really going to be a pretty quiet pattern across the Midwest. And, hopefully we can turn that corner at the end of the month and then not go into the repeat of a quiet first half of February with a rambunctious second half of February. But whatever it is, we will live through it. We will survive it. And most importantly, we'll make the most of it, right? Won't we, folks? We are all glass half full folks, because that's the way to live your life. So go out there and enjoy today. Live it to the fullest. Keep your sticks on the ice and your head up. And I will talk to you again tomorrow.